Welcome to my video on questions 3, 4, and 5 from the study guide. Alright, the first question that we're going to look at is number 3. When we read the directions, it says simplify. Write each answer in standard form. When I look at number 3, I see that we are going to be using the distributive property. 2c times c to the 5th plus 2c times 4c to the 4th. Let me go ahead and write this out for you. 2c means 2 times c times c to the 5th, which is c times c times c times c times c. That means we've got 2 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 c's, which can be written as 2c to the 6th plus our second part, 2c times 4c to the 4th. Well, 2 times 4 is 8. And then c times c to the 4th, that would be c times c times c times c times c, which is c to the 5th. So my final answer for this problem is 2c to the 6th plus 8c to the 5th. All right, I'm going to erase a little bit over here just so that I have enough room for number 4. All right, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify the quantity of negative 4x to the 6th times the quantity 10x to the 3rd plus 3x squared minus 7. Now, before I even start, I see a minus sign, and I know I'm using distributive property, so I'm automatically going to make that plus a negative 7, plus a negative 7. So let's go ahead and rewrite that. Negative 4x to the 6th times 10x to the 3rd plus 3x squared plus negative 7. All right, let's go ahead and distribute the first part. Just like we did in the first one, we're going to multiply the regular numbers. Negative 4 times 10 is negative 40. And then we need to think about what our variable is going to be and what exponent it's going to be raised to. X to the 6 means x times x times x times x times x times x. And we're going to be multiplying that by x to the 3rd, which is another times x times x times x. Total, we would have x being raised to the 9th power because we would have 9 x's being multiplied. All right, let's move on to the second part. Plus sign, dropped on your plus sign. Negative 4 times 3, which is negative 12. X to the 6th times x squared. Again, that'd be x times 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 x, which is x to the 8th. And then our final part, negative 4 x to the 6th times negative 7. Negative times negative is positive. So plus 28. And then we need to multiply all of that by x to the 6th. So that is my final answer for number 4. And again, I apologize if you can't read this as well as you usually can. I'm needing to use my finger because I don't have my stylus on hand. But I have negative 40 x to the 9th plus negative 12 x to the 8th plus 28 x to the 6th. And my final question, factoring a polynomial. Factoring does the opposite of the distributive property. Basically, I'm saying, okay, it's already in standard form. This right here is This right here is standard form. And so what I need to do is sort of undo that and put it back into factored form, which means something's going to be sitting outside and then there's going to be parentheses. The first thing that I see that I can factor or divide out is the 7. Both of these quantities are divisible by 7. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the 7. Then I'm going to look at the next factors. G squared right here, and then g to the 5th over here. Well, I know that the largest factor they have in common is g squared. So I'm going to place that right there. And then the next thing I need to think about is the k's. This is k times k times k, k to the third, and this one's only k times k, k squared. So the GCF out of the k's is just k squared. Now, in parentheses, I'm going to have the rest of my quantity. So, in other words, 7g squared k squared times what will get me back to my 7g squared k to the third. So the remaining factor that I need right there to complete that is k. Now you'll notice that this was a minus sign, so I'm going to place my minus sign. And then the last factor is a little more complicated because we need to get this 35g to the fifth k squared. I've already got the k squared. Right now I have g squared, and I have 7. 7 times 5 will get me to 35. And now I need something that will get me to g to the fifth. Right now, like I mentioned, I've got g squared. So in order to get to the g to the fifth, I would need 3 more g's. G times g, and then I'd need 3 more. Times g, times g, times g. So that would be 5g to the third. So this whole quantity right here is my final answer. 7g squared k squared times the quantity k minus 5g to the third. That's my final answer. Now remember that you can check your answer by redistributing to make sure that we get our original polynomial. That's it. For now, stay tuned for the rest of the videos.